There is a hidden currency flowing all around you, and it's not printed on paper, stored in banks, or mined from the earth. It's the people you surround yourself with. The wealth you seek, it's waiting in the hands, hearts, and minds of those you've yet to connect with. There is a form of wealth so subtle, so often overlooked, that many men spend their entire lives chasing gold, only to die impoverished in spirit and opportunity. This wealth does not show itself in the form of bank statements or property deeds. It is not measured in dollars or diamonds. It is measured in influence, in goodwill, in the doors that open when your name is spoken in the right room. This invisible asset is the power of relationships. While others seek fortune in solitude, the wise understand that no success, no empire, no legacy has ever been built in isolation. Behind every soaring achievement, behind every historic accomplishment, stands a network of strategic, sincere, and empowering relationships. Consider this. The steel magnate Andrew Carnegie attributed his fortune not solely to his personal skill or effort, but to his ability to surround himself with men who possessed knowledge, talents, and character that complemented his own. He once stated that he would rather have the services of one man who knew how to get things done than 100 men who merely followed orders. Carnegie's wealth was not just his steel mills, it was the strength of his circle. The men he trusted, those he counseled with, and those who executed his vision were the true engines of his success. Without that network, his ideas would have remained just that, ideas, not industries. Let us look to the modern world for another example. Imagine a young entrepreneur with an idea for a groundbreaking product, but no capital to fund it, no market to enter, and no credibility in the eyes of potential customers. Alone, he remains a dreamer. But when that same individual cultivates meaningful relationships, perhaps with a mentor who has walked the path before, an investor who believes in the vision, a peer who challenges him to sharpen his thinking, and a friend who reminds him to persevere, everything begins to change. Those relationships become bridges over obstacles he could never cross alone. They provide wisdom when he is confused, encouragement when he is discouraged, and opportunities when doors appear shut. Wealth, then, must be redefined. It is not just the accumulation of resources, it is the accumulation of relationships that open the way to those resources. Many people spend a lifetime trying to gather riches, but fail to gather allies. They compete when they should collaborate. They hoard when they should give. They focus on the transaction instead of the transformation that takes place when two minds connect in trust and purpose. The truth is, a man may inherit a fortune and lose it in a decade, but a man who builds powerful relationships has inherited the tools to create fortunes again and again. Every man is the sum total of the influences he allows into his life. You may consider yourself a thinker of independent thought, a doer of self-made destiny, but take one honest look at your daily companions, the people you speak with, confide in, work beside, and allow to shape your environment, and you will see a mirror reflecting back your probable future. The truth many refuse to face is this: your mindset, your habits, your expectations, and ultimately your results are being sculpted every day by the people you permit to orbit your world. And just as iron sharpens iron, so too can rust decay even the strongest steel if it goes unchecked. Let us observe the case of two young men, both ambitious, both talented, both starting from modest means. One surrounds himself with companions who dream big, read voraciously, act with purpose, and hold one another to a standard of excellence. Their conversations are not filled with complaints, gossip, or blame. They are filled with vision, strategy, and bold plans. Each man in that circle becomes a reflection of the others. When one begins to slip, the group pulls him back up. When one achieves, it sets the standard higher for them all. Success becomes contagious, and so does resilience. Even in failure, they learn faster because they share their lessons. That man, whether slowly or swiftly, will ascend. Not because he is luckier or more gifted than others, but because he has tied his fate to a group that refuses to allow mediocrity to take root. Now contrast him with the second man. He too once held lofty dreams, but over time he finds himself in the company of those who speak constantly of limitations. His peers mock ambition, scoff at risk, and drown discomfort in distraction. They speak more about what they can't do than what they can. When he expresses his goals, they respond not with encouragement, but with warnings, doubt, or even ridicule. He is told to be realistic, to play it safe, to accept life as it is. At first he resists, but day after day their voices become familiar. Their thinking begins to seep into his own. He starts to lower his standards, not because he has changed his heart, but because he is tired of standing alone in his beliefs. He adopts the habits of those around him, perhaps staying up late, wasting time, avoiding the hard things, cutting corners. Eventually, he becomes just another product of that environment. The greatness that once burned within him becomes a faint flicker, buried under the weight of small-minded influence. This principle operates in every sphere of life. In business, you will notice that high-performing teams raise the performance of every individual, while toxic work environments drain energy and extinguish initiative. In personal development, an individual who joins a circle of driven, goal-oriented people often makes more progress in a few months than in years of working alone. And even in finances, those who associate with wise, disciplined investors tend to adopt more prudent financial behavior, while those surrounded by careless spenders often fall into the same traps. It is not mere coincidence, it is cause and effect. Like water rising to its own level, you will always rise or sink to the expectations of your peer group. And yet, this truth remains hidden from many, for it demands a difficult decision to audit your relationships with brutal honesty. It demands that you ask hard questions: who challenges me, who inspires me, who drains me, who limits me, and it demands the courage to walk away from those who keep you small, even if they are familiar, even if they are loved, because the cost of staying in the wrong environment is the death of your potential. No man climbs the mountain of success alone. Behind every towering achievement stands a collective of minds, a mastermind working in harmony toward a common aim. The Mastermind Principle is not merely a partnership, it is the coordination of knowledge, energy, faith, and determination between two or more people united by a definite purpose. When individuals align their thoughts and ambitions, something remarkable occurs. A third intangible force is created, a mind that transcends the individual, a greater intelligence formed by the fusion of many. This is not theory, it is law, observable in the rise of every enterprise, movement, and empire that has ever left a mark upon history. Consider the story of Henry Ford. The man who revolutionized the automobile industry is often praised as a lone genius, but the truth is far more revealing. Ford surrounded himself with a tight circle of advisors, men like Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, and Luther Burbank, men of differing talents and viewpoints who shared a common hunger for progress. These men formed an informal yet profoundly powerful mastermind group. They regularly exchanged ideas, shared breakthroughs, challenged assumptions, and sharpened one another's thinking. Ford did not pretend to possess all knowledge, nor did he isolate himself in pride. He understood that when minds converge in unity and purpose, a multiplying effect occurs. One idea sparks another, and solutions appear that would never have emerged in solitude. This is the genius of the mastermind, not just shared knowledge, but amplified intelligence. Let us also examine the realm of invention. The Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, did not invent flight in separate silos of thought. They worked in tandem, their ideas bouncing back and forth, failures examined together, triumphs celebrated as a shared conquest. Each brought a unique strength, one more mechanical, the other more theoretical, and by combining those strengths through relentless dialogue and cooperation, they achieved what the entire world thought impossible. Alone, either brother may have died in obscurity. Together, they soared into history. The Wright brothers were not merely siblings, they were a living, breathing mastermind. The same principle applies in the world of entrepreneurship today. Consider an aspiring business owner who struggles to scale his operations. Alone, he wrestles with marketing, finance, product design, and strategy, and progress is slow. But once he joins forces with others who possess complementary strengths, a marketer who understands reach, a strategist who sees patterns, a financier who knows numbers, momentum shifts. What once seemed complex becomes manageable. The business accelerates not because of a single man's talent, but because of unified effort. The mastermind becomes a living entity that feeds on the harmony of minds joined together, each drawing strength from the other's insight and conviction. The most valuable part of any project is not the product itself, but the intelligence and synergy of the minds building it. Even in the most personal aspects of achievement, whether in writing, in leadership, in invention, or in character, the presence of a mastermind accelerates results. A writer in solitude may craft a compelling message, but a writer who shares his ideas within a mastermind group finds deeper clarity, richer insight, and greater impact. A leader may set a vision, but when surrounded by others who hold him accountable and sharpen his focus, that vision becomes unstoppable. The mastermind principle is not a luxury. It is the architecture of all enduring success. The lone wolf may hunt, but the pack conquers. The world has deceived many into believing that success is a function of credentials, that pieces of paper, polished qualifications, or a spotless resume are the key to opportunity. But those who have climbed the highest peaks of influence and prosperity know better. They know that it is not the resume that gets you in the room. It is the relationship. It is not your bullet points on paper, but the hand that introduces you, the voice that recommends you, the trust that precedes your name when it is spoken behind closed doors. Resumes may summarize what you've done. Relationships speak to who you are, what you're capable of, and whether others are willing to bet their reputation on you. In a world overflowing with information, it is connection that cuts through the noise. Let us take the example of a recent college graduate, ambitious and full of potential, applying to dozens of companies, sending out resume after resume with perfect formatting, high marks, and internship experiences. Yet for months, the silence is deafening. No calls, no replies, no interviews. On paper, she is everything a company should want, but the paper never speaks for her. One day, she attends a local business networking event, not knowing what to expect. She strikes up a conversation with a seasoned entrepreneur, not pitching herself, but asking questions, showing curiosity, and revealing her character. That conversation leads to a follow-up coffee, then an introduction to a partner at a firm that had never posted a job opening. Within weeks, she's working in a role that aligns perfectly with her goals, not because of her resume, but because someone saw her, trusted her, and opened a door. This is the story of countless successful people. Their big break didn't come from the resume dropped into an impersonal system. It came from a conversation, a referral, a handshake, a recommendation, a reputation earned through interaction, not documentation. Think of a talented developer with no formal education, no diploma on the wall, but a robust network of colleagues and collaborators who have seen the quality of his work firsthand. When an opportunity arises, his name is the first to be mentioned, not because he applied, but because someone in the room knew him. His reputation bypassed the gatekeeping of HR. The door did not open because of what was written on paper, but because someone inside turned the handle and said, "Let him in." Even in industries that claim to be meritocratic, relationships reign. Musicians, actors, executives, and even scholars often find their next opportunity through people who believe in them, not through credentials alone. You may be the most qualified person in the world, but if no one knows you, trusts you, or champions your cause, your brilliance may remain hidden. On the other hand, if you are connected to those who hold influence and you have added value to their lives, demonstrated your reliability, and made your purpose clear, they will remember your name when the moment comes. The resume may get a glance, but the recommendation gets attention, and attention is the gatekeeper to every opportunity worth pursuing. The law of return begins with an act of giving. In every area of life, business, friendship, mentorship, influence, the individuals who rise the fastest and endure the longest are those who first offer value without keeping score. This principle is not simply moral. It is practical, strategic, and profoundly effective. When you become a person who gives first your time, your insight, your encouragement, your resources, you plant seeds in soil you cannot yet see, seeds that often bloom into relationships, opportunities, and rewards far beyond anything you could have asked for or orchestrated by force. The world opens its arms to those who serve it sincerely and shuts its doors to those who seek only to take before they've earned trust. Imagine a young man entering the world of business with nothing but ambition. He doesn't have capital, a famous last name, or years of experience, but he does have one thing under his control: his willingness to help. Instead of chasing after clients or begging for favors, he offers to assist a small business owner he admires. He volunteers to manage social media, helps organize events, connects that business with people from his own limited circle, and asks for nothing in return. For months he gives. No invoices, no demands. But he is watching, learning, and building genuine rapport. That business owner, moved by his integrity and hunger, introduces him to others, refers him to a larger client, and eventually brings him in as a paid partner. What he gave without expectation returns to him with compound interest, not just financially, but in wisdom, access, and credibility. Now consider the man who does the opposite. He walks into every room calculating what he can extract. He waits to see who can benefit him before extending even the smallest gesture. He only networks when he needs something, only compliments when he's seeking a favor, and views generosity as a transaction, not a principle. Over time, people see through the mask. His contacts may tolerate him, but they do not trust him. He is received with guarded hearts, closed hands, and forgotten names. While he may get short-term gains, he burns bridges faster than he builds them. He is a taker in a world that rewards the giver. The most successful relationships in life are built on an unshakable foundation of contribution. When you are the first to lift someone up, to share your resources, to help without being asked, you become memorable. More than that, you become trusted, and trust is the real currency in any human transaction. Whether you are seeking investment, mentorship, loyalty, or leadership, the hearts you win through giving will follow you farther and faster than any pitch, presentation, or pursuit of profit. Giving transforms strangers into allies, skeptics into believers, and opportunities into realities. The irony is that the moment you stop worrying about what you're getting and begin focusing on what you're giving, the world begins to give back in ways you never imagined. A man's network is not a random collection of acquaintances. It is a living, breathing reflection of what he believes he deserves. Your circle, the people you attract and remain connected to, mirrors the value you place upon yourself. If you surround yourself with small thinkers, negative voices, and those who tolerate mediocrity, it is because at some level you have accepted that this is the level you belong to. But when you elevate your inner standard, when you begin to believe deep within your bones that you are worthy of greatness, you will naturally begin to seek, attract, and be accepted by people who live at higher altitudes of thought and action. The value you carry in your mind becomes the signal that either attracts excellence or repels it. Imagine a young professional entering a new industry, full of talent but plagued by self-doubt. Instead of pursuing relationships with people who challenge and elevate him, he stays within the comfort of a peer group that validates his insecurity. They are well-meaning, perhaps, but they are unambitious. They caution him against risk, encourage him to play safe, and laugh at ideas that stretch beyond their comfort zones. He doesn't push beyond them, not because he lacks the skill, but because he hasn't yet decided that he deserves to be in rooms with greater minds. His network becomes a reflection of his self-imposed limitations. Every time he hesitates to introduce himself to a leader, every time he avoids seeking mentorship from someone more accomplished, he is reaffirming that hidden belief. I'm not ready. I'm not worthy. Now contrast him with someone of similar background, but vastly different internal dialogue. This person may not have all the answers, but he believes he belongs among giants. He reads the biographies of great men and women not with awe, but with recognition, seeing in them a path he too can walk. When he enters a room, he introduces himself to the most accomplished person there, not with arrogance, but with respect and curiosity. He offers value, listens intently, follows up without fear. He joins mastermind groups, seeks mentors, and intentionally places himself in environments that stretch his comfort zone. Over time, those higher caliber relationships begin to form naturally. Why? Because his self-worth signaled alignment. People of substance recognize one of their own not merely by status, but by attitude, hunger, and the standard they hold themselves to. Even in moments of isolation or transition, the company you keep is often a compass pointing back to your self-image. If your circle inspires you, sharpens you, and propels you forward, it is because you have chosen consciously or unconsciously to be someone who deserves that level of company. If, on the other hand, your circle drains you, distracts you, or delays your growth, it may be time not to change your environment first, but to upgrade your inner sense of worth. Because once you truly believe that your future is worth fighting for, you will stop entertaining relationships that poison your present. The gravitational pull of your network begins with the gravitational strength of your own self-concept. People do not just connect with who you are, they connect with who you believe you are.